Okay, so let's get to it. I'm going to show you how to apply GelMoment polish. Because there are no harsh chemical binders, it's important that you do the prep steps, and they're really simple. The first step is you want to buff your nail bed. We have two files. We have the mini file and then the full-size professional file. There is a soft buffing side and then there is a rough shaping side. So the first thing you want to do is take this and buff the entire nail bed. And you want to make sure and get kind of down in the corners, close to your cuticle where lotions can hang out, and make sure you cover the entire surface. And then after you do some shaping, you want to take the buffer and buff over the tip of your nail and make sure that you've removed any of those little flakes that can happen when you file off a lot of your nail. And then we're going to grab a cleansing wipe, and you just open this up and you just wipe the surface of every nail. This is going to do a couple things. One, you're going to remove the dust that you just created from doing the buffing and filing. And this is also going to dry out your nail bed just a little bit to help the polish adhere. A couple tips on that: if you want to, when you're doing that, be sure and get under your nail and over the tip of your nail, because you can have like lotions and body oils and stuff like that that hang out right underneath your nail. Once you get everything properly cleaned, you're going to grab your polish. And what is so awesome is that this is it. You don't need a base coat or a top coat or anything like that, just the polish. So another tip, if you want to roll your polish rather than shake it to minimize air bubbles, and when you go to paint your nail, you want to use very thin coats. A little bit of polish goes a really long way. That's how you're going to get 15 to 20 manicures out of one bottle of polish. So I'm going to demonstrate real quick how I do it. So I get my polish and wipe one side all the way off, and then I turn my brush around, and you know that little teardrop that's hanging off right there? I just kind of knock that off. And that seems to be a perfectly loaded brush for a great polishing experience. So when you take that brush, you want to put it down in the middle of your nail bed and push towards your cuticle and then pull away. You want to embrace a little gap. You don't want to come into contact with that cuticle. So that's how you get like a nice clean looking manicure. And it also keeps the seal. If you come in contact with your skin, it's going to give the polish an opportunity to kind of lift off. And if you can just embrace the gap, you're going to have a nice long wearing manicure. And as you're painting your nails, we also have a step called capping, which is you're literally going to paint over the tip of your nail. And then what I like to do after I've done my capping is come back and with the brush, so everything is kind of going in the right direction and so you don't have a ridge. And so you'll do 2 fingers or 4 fingers at a time depending on the lamp that you choose. And before you cure, you want to use that cleansing wipe to remove any polish that kind of got where you didn't want it. Maybe you got a little bit on your fingertip when you were doing the capping, or a little bit on the side of your nail. You want to make sure to remove all of that before you cure so it looks really great. So we have 2 options for lamps. This is the 2-finger lamp. You'll set 2 fingers in 60 seconds. The lamps are self-timed. You just push the button and it will run for 60 seconds and shut off when it's done. We also have the professional lamp. This sets 4 fingers at a time. Again, you just push the button. This one sets in 45 seconds. It makes for a super duper fast manicure. And one tip, everybody's like, well, I have 5 fingers. So if you paint your thumbs and cure them at the same time, that way you don't have to like bend your wrists in that weird little way. And that way you just have 3 runs of the lamp and you can literally do your manicure so fast. So that is really all there is to it for application. If you want to do 2 coats to get kind of a richer color, that's something that I do frequently. You don't have to do any prep or anything between the coats, and you don't need to cap on your second coat. So, but use the same tips for the really thin coats, and you'll have an awesome manicure.